In this video,
we're going to talk about finances and can you become a walking ATM machine?
in the Philippines.
Stay tuned. So we know this is a controversial topic and a lot of people don't like to talk about it. But Building the Philippines is going to tackle it today, right?
Yes, we do.
And I think it's important for you guys to know. So many people are considering, vacationing here or moving here full time. You could be a renter. You could be buying a house or a condo or buying a piece of property and building a home. Finances affects everyone, not just people who are building a house, obviously. So, the thumbnail says, don't become a walking ATM machine. And that can happen. And Wilma and I hear a lot of stories all the time about people who get taken advantage of because they're foreigners. So guys, I guess the first thing I would say is, as I mentioned in the previous video, don't be a 30-day millionaire. Don't be flashy. Stay under the radar. Don't be going around and having people hear, I have all this money, I'm getting this much pension, I have this much money in the bank. You're just putting a big target on your head and, people may take advantage of that.
Yes, most likely.
And it happens all the time. So don't be a 30-day millionaire. So regarding finances, a lot of people have done videos, we've done videos about making sure that you have, a steady stream of income coming in, also an emergency fund, enough liquid cash up front for all the expenses to get you established, call it infrastructure, as well as money set aside for medical. That's not what this video is about. This video is about someone that's already here.
Yes.
And now you may have that target on your back. And these are just some things to think about once you're here. So obviously you arrive, more than likely you're gonna be in an Airbnb or in a hotel room. You're probably gonna look to rent a motorbike or maybe rent a car. And you're in the process of finding, more than likely, a rental house, a rental apartment, or some type of a condo that you could rent for enough time for you to get established in your long-term house. So that would be number one. Be cautious.
Always, guys.
We hear all the time where rents go up when they know it's a foreigner.
Yes, that's for sure.
Or it goes from 1 month security for a local to a 2 month security because you're a foreigner. And if you don't have any negotiation skills, or you're just that 30-day millionaire and you're like, it's only $400 a month, what's another $400 in security? Often, not always, but often you will never see that security deposit again.
Yes, and that happened to a lot of people that we know.
A lot of people
Yes.
that we know. So let's just say your rent is $400 and they wanted 2 months security. So that's $800. And then you pay your rent. Say you have a 6-month contract. You pay everything on time. You move out. Now you bought a condo, maybe you bought an existing home. You go to move in the home, ask for the security deposit back, and you're not going to get it back. Now you can go through the motions, going through the court system, but we know so many people where they just say there's so much red tape that they just forget about it and they say, well, it's only $800, so we'll just let it go. And a lot of the locals know that and they will take advantage. Again,
Yes.
This video is going to be, a little difficult to hear, but it's true. Does it always happen? No, in fact, it didn't happen with us.
It didn't happen with us.
We gave 1 month security because I told them up front I would not give 2 months security. And they accepted 1 month, so again, negotiation. And when we moved out, we got our security back, no problem. So it does happen, but we hear so many stories where it doesn't. So right off the bat, you have to be very cautious with your finances and make sure that when you go to rent a home, when you sign that contract, they call it a contract here, at least in other countries, that you don't pay more than you should, and that the rent doesn't go up just because you're a foreigner. Next up is everyday expenses.
Yes, for sure.
We see it all the time.
Yes.
You know, we're out and about looking for things for the house, or sometimes we're out, you know, to buy something. You know, Wilma knows the prices.
Yeah.
So she can negotiate with the person, and she's just pretty blunt and to say, hey, just because my husband is here, don't overcharge.
Yeah, I always do that. Definitely.
So if you're out and about, again, as a new person in the country, there is a chance, and again, does everybody do it? No. But enough vendors do it where it will take a toll on your finances over the long haul. I seen it, I can remember one time in Leyte, I think I may have told this story before. A 12-pack of soda was, I think, 140 pesos. And we went and stopped, and I said, well, how much is that? And you see the lady, the vendor, pause, and she said, 280.
Yeah, it was double.
She doubled the price just because I asked the price, and then Wilma jumped in and said, no. Just down the road, it's 140, we'll go there. And then the vendor looks at Wilma with a dirty look.
Yeah, she gave me a very dirty look.
Yeah, so the price doubled just because I asked for the price. So just everyday expenses, you over time could pay a lot more just because you're a foreigner. So it's really wise to know the prices. And again, if you're new to the country, it takes time for that. But also be careful of everyday expenses. All right, here comes the 800-pound gorilla in the room. Lending money to family and friends. Now, it goes both ways, right? My family, Wilma's family. We both have friends. I have friends, Wilma has friends. So it's comprehensive. So I'm going to do my best to answer this. Of course, throughout our entire life, Wilma and I have been very generous. We've helped a lot of people. We've helped Wilma's family greatly.
Yes.
She built a home for her mother, bought property. To this day, pays 100% of her expenses. We've sent money to her family when they had issues.
And religiously every month send my parents.
For 25 years.
Yeah, for 25 years when my dad was still alive, for both of them. I support both of them.
Absolutely.
For many, many years.
Absolutely. And then even on my side of the family, you know, my two sons from a previous marriage,
Yes.
you know, when they got out and got started, I bought their first cars. I helped them when they had issues. I've lent them money. So, you know, it goes both ways. But here's the way I look at it, and I'm real curious to see what you say. So comment below. Wilma and I obviously both worked for many years.
Yeah.
I worked for 35 years. So I had a steady income, Wilma had a steady income. At that time, we were better able to help people.
Yes.
And I'll say it probably a couple times in this video. When you lend money, you have to be willing to understand that you're probably not going to see that money again. Not always. Sometimes you may lend to a family member, they pay it back. That's great. You'll lend money to another family member, and there'll be 50 excuses why they can't pay you back. So you need to know the difference between the two. And if you know that you're going to lend money to somebody that has never returned any previous lends, you just have to look at that as a gift.
It's a gift.
And just let it go if you're willing to do so. Or, here's a very important word for you guys to understand. No. You have to learn that once you're retired.
Yes.
So again, when Wilma and I was working, it was a different story.
It's different.
Because we had steady income.
Yes.
Wilma and I no longer work, so we have to be very, very cautious with our retirement dollars. For the long-time viewers, how many times have I said, no one's going to look out for your retirement dollars more than yourself? It's a very important line. So, do we help people? Of course. Are we generous? Yes, we are.
We are.
But we have cut back greatly on just lending money because we know more than likely you will never see that money again.
You will never.
And it's just something that we agree upon. It's difficult to talk about. And what happens here, and again, it's the 800-pound gorilla in the room. You lend money, let's just use my family for example. Keep it simple. I lend money to one of my first cousins. Then a second cousin finds out that I lent money to a first cousin. All of a sudden, the second cousin wants money. And then an uncle wants money for various reasons. And it goes on and on and on. And then we hear the stories here all the time. It branches out to friends,
To neighbors?
to neighbors.
Yeah.
You lend money to one neighbor, all of a sudden, 6 neighbors show up.
Word goes out so fast here.
It does.
Yes.
Yeah. And we had one gentleman tell us the story, couple, but
Yes.
the gentleman was talking that he lent money to a neighbor and he had, and I use the word 6 other neighbors at his gate asking for money. These are people that he doesn't even know other than saying hello.
Yeah.
So are you willing just to be an ATM and just hand out your money and then have them sign a contract? Oh, you gotta owe it back, and then the person never pays it back? I can tell a specific story,
Yes.
right? Wilma gave me permission to do this.
Yes.
One of Wilma's friends just recently, won't mention where it was,
No.
won't even mention the amount. I'll use a different amount. Came to Wilma's friend and said, you know, I'm really in a bind. Can you loan me some money for this specific reason? I promise I'll pay you back.
Yes.
Said, I'm very religious and I want you to know that I go to church all the time. That's what this person said.
Yes.
And I will pay you back. So Wilma's friend signs a contract or creates a contract. Here's the amount of money. This is when you pay me back. Lends the money. Gave a certain amount of time. Let's just say it was 30 days. Trying to change all the calculations so nobody can figure it out. 30 days came. Nothing.
All kinds of excuse. Don't reply to the messages anymore. Yes.
Blocked
Block her.
on Facebook.
Yes.
Blocked her on Facebook. And then had a hell of a time because now you got to turn it over to attorneys
attorney.
to get your money back. And this is someone that is friendly with one of Wilma's friends.
Yes.
Can you imagine? You lend somebody money, I'll pay it back, and then they just don't. So again, the general rule is, here's the rule according to Building the Philippines. If you're going to lend money to someone, you're not going to get it back. If you get it back, it's just a bonus.
Yeah. Just expect that it's a gift.
It's a gift. So be very, very cautious about lending money to anyone, including family and friends. Okay, next up, lending money to other foreigners. Let's call that the 900-pound girl in the room. It happens. You wouldn't think it would. You would think that it would be the locals trying to use the foreigner as an ATM. Not necessarily true. Often, foreigners will ask you for money, and they do it in different ways. Just come out and ask, or they try to do it, oh, you know, my car broke down, I can't get the kids to school, I don't know what I'm going to do, as they're, telling the story. Or even YouTube channels.
Yes.
There's YouTube channels out there that people, they call them e-beggars, I think, where they're just online, just giving out their sob story, and a lot of you fork over the cash. So once you do that, consider yourself an enabler. Maybe it makes you feel good. There's nothing wrong with it, if that's what you want to do. But once you enable them, what does their channel turn into? Now it's not just their car that's broke down. They got maybe a child that's sick, or they have an electrical issue in their house, or they need to move to another house because the roof leaks and they need money to move. It's always something, right guys? It's always something. So foreigners asking for money. I'm going to tell you a story. And now I'm going to try to bring it down from, PG-13 down to rated G, like our channel. Early on, when I first got here, we went to a resort where there happened to be quite a few foreigners. And there was a couple of foreigners that we knew.
Yes.
And one of the foreigners I knew was talking to somebody that I'd never seen before. So what I did was, Wilma and I ordered food, and I said, I'm going to go over and say hello to the gentleman that I knew. So I walked over and I just said, hey, I'll just say John. Hey, John, how you doing? And John goes, hey, I want to introduce you to someone I just met. His name is Larry. Hey, Larry, how you doing? Within 3 minutes, he told me his whole sob story of how he's stuck in Dumageddon, he has no money, and then he said to me, now I wasn't even sitting down, I was still standing. Is there any way I could lend him 25,000 pesos, $500, to get him back to Cebu? And I looked him in the eye and I said, are you shitting me? You gotta be kidding me. I met you 3 minutes ago and you're already asking me for money? You have a better chance of seeing God than getting a peso out of me. Now, I watered that down because that is just, to me, disrespectful. And it doesn't cost $500 to get from Dumageddon to Cebu. A bus ticket is less than 20.
Yes.
Right? That's ferry and everything. So if he said, I'm dire straight, I need $20 to get back to Cebu, who knows what Greg would have done. I think you do know though. But $500, see, so it happens all the time. So don't be that ATM machine as well.
Don't be too naive.
Yeah, and I think if people know, if you're kind of a wishy-washy person, or say, let me go talk to my wife, or, message me tomorrow. If you're not confrontational enough just to answer the question, straight away, I can see how other people may, get notice of that and continue to ask you for more and more. But if you're the person to say, you gotta be kidding me, we just met, there's no possible way I'm lending you any money. Hey, I'll buy you a beer, but that's as far as it's gonna go. So foreigners asking money happens as well. So the bottom line, guys, is as a retired couple, there's so many of you just like us, coming to the Philippines with X number of dollars, with Y amount of retirement coming in, various ranges. Some people have a lot, some people have a little. It's very important to be wise with your money and learn how to say no. There's nothing wrong with helping people. There's nothing wrong with being cautious and giving people a hand up now and then. Call it charity, if you will. Wilma and I are charitable people, and we do things today. Actually, we're getting ready to participate in a charity event soon here during the holidays, where we purchase a lot of food and we help out a neighborhood. We did the same thing in this area. We did care packages of rice and sardines and different types of non-perishables, and gave it out as gifts to basically strangers. We just started to know these people. So there's nothing wrong with being charitable, but don't be a 30-day millionaire. Don't have that target on your head.
Yeah.
Don't be flashy. Don't be walking around saying how much money you have, because that's going to make you a target. And be cautious. Learn how to say no, because if you say yes, the money will flow, and mark my words, there's going to be a very low percentage of you getting your money back. So guys, This was a little difficult video to shoot.
Yeah.
Thank God, Wilma and I are always on the same page regarding this topic. We have a finite amount of money. We don't even get our Social Security until we're 62. Now the good news is we both get a Social Security, but I'm 56. That's 6 years away. So if I'm one of those 30-day millionaires and I'm flashy and I'm handing out money left and right and 90% don't return the money, what happens if I run out of money? And it happens here. I have to go back to work. Can you imagine that? So how many people have you heard? How many foreigners have you heard that came here with an amount of money, ran out of money, and is destitute? They're destitute.
Yes.
And then they need handouts to get back to their home country. It is a shame. Maybe if that person was a little more cautious with their money, budgeted a little better, and I don't know if they were generous or not. Maybe they wasn't, and they just spent the money on their own, or maybe they was, and they gave away a good portion of their retirement, thinking they were going to get the money back, and didn't. So I think this is just a difficult video to shoot, and I think it's a difficult video for you to hear, because I can only imagine what the comments will be. But fire away. But again, I'll say it one more time. No one's going to look out for your retirement dollars more than yourself. Take care.